Hello, everybody. Good evening. Welcome to the 1885 show. Post-match cool down of Millwall's fantastic away win on the opening day of the season away at Bristol City. 2 goals scored, a clean sheet, result on the road. Really, really good performance. We're going to dive into all of that. We'll look at the gut reaction from ourselves. We'll get into your comments. We'll have a little look at the starting 11. Talk about the game, the moments of the game. We'll look at Josh Coburn as well, getting off the mark with a brace. We'll talk about the new boys, how they performed, the potential of another injury in Femi Azeez. And we'll have a little look at our man in the match and our final thoughts before we get into that, though. Evening, Carl. Thank you very much for joining us. How you doing? Riggsy, how you doing, mate? I'm from Louisiana, checking in. Very, very welcome indeed, Dark Row. And Chris, good evening to yourselves. And welcome to Facebook as well. We got Facebook Live for the first time this evening as well. So thank you, everybody who's watching over on Facebook. So let's get stuck into it then. Charlie, welcome, mate. Good evening. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. I'm buzzing after the weekend, but yeah, no, not too bad, mate. Yourself?
The weekend was class. It couldn't have gone any better, right? I mean, if you could have dreamt it up, that's how you dream it up, right? Your striker gets off the mark with a brace. The new boys look good. You keep a clean sheet. You perform really, really well. You couldn't have asked for a better result, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. I generally, it's probably up there with probably Alex Neil's probably top 10 performances since he's joined us. I think, especially away from home, I didn't expect us to be straight as front footed as we were. Ultimately, obviously, Bristol did have those kind of few chances early on before the red card, but since that red card, we were pretty much smooth sailing all the way through.
Yeah, I think we was before, and I'll be honest, I left the ground feeling probably better than I did at Norwich. I'm going to be honest, like Norwich away, the first game of last season, you're thinking, this is it. We're going to do something this season. It's a really good bit of away performance, score 2 goals, a bit of a hoodoo, we put that to bed away at Norwich. I kind of thought that with the injuries going into Saturday's game, the amount of money Bristol City spent, I mean, we said it on the warm-up, right, that they will take time to embed. It's probably a good time to play Bristol City before their talisman really sort of find their feet in the Championship. But I come away from it thinking, I have no negatives. The only negative, and we'll touch on a bit later, was potentially another injury. I felt that a Millwall performance in terms of our attack. I mean, we was number 1 in the Championship for XG. I think it was like +3. It's a clean sheet. I just felt that after the away performances last season and being the best in the league, the most wins away from home since Alex Neil took charge, just think, can we do it again? Can we do it again under the same circumstances where you've got the likes of 𝗖𝗎𝗪𝗓, the likes of Kramer, the likes of Ivanovic, we've got key players missing from the squad. Delboy, Jensen, how's Jensen going to perform after being given seemingly the number 1 shirt? How's he going to perform? As for with all these question marks, Alex Neil had to deal with these last season. We were seasoned in dealing with this exact type of situation on the road, and we answered tenfold, right? I mean, Alex Neil was beaming in his presser. He doesn't often smile or let his emotions get the better of him in his presser, but he let out a little chuckle, let out a little laugh. He must have been absolutely buzzing with the lads.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think you look at it as well across the whole team. I think for the debutants, they all performed unbelievable. Metcalfe, Lisbie, Archon, obviously, again, should have probably scored, but again, you can't take that away from his performance. Even the likes of 𝗖𝗎𝗪𝗓, when he came on, held up really well, got in behind a few times. And then again, you look at Jensen, he's the only keeper, I believe, from the first game to have a clean sheet. So, confidence within the boys now is obviously going to be high. It's always going to be difficult looking on to the next game, which is obviously Norwich. In a sense of, before the start of the season, you would have said that's a tough start. You're looking at them now, obviously losing that first game. I still believe, obviously, it's going to be a close game, especially with the likes of what they have. But definitely, confidence-wise in that squad, there shouldn't be a player sitting there thinking, low on confidence here. I don't know if I'll be able to stand out this season, because after that performance, every single player played at least an 8 out of 10, I think. Especially the likes of Taylor. Taylor again standing out. With the likes he's just unbelievable to watch at the back. You just think nothing's going to get past him. And I don't even remember Coops or Taylor losing one header.
No, I think they was incredibly comfortable, and we'll touch on that. Let's go through the starting 11 then, because it was there was a couple of surprises, right? I mean, I didn't expect our Kont to start. There was 𝗕𝗥𝗪𝗪𝗧𝗢 start at right back with Lenny being the cover. Who was going to start in goal? I think Jensen kind of, signed, sealed, delivered all the nails in the coffin, and said a prayer after his performance at QPR. So we run through the team then. It was Lucas Jensen started in goal. He given the number 1 shirt. Ryan Leonard started at right back with 𝗕𝗥𝗪𝗪𝗧𝗢 as the centre half. Zach Sturge at left back. Casper De Norre and Jensen Metcalfe as the midfield 2. Negley out wide on the left. Was Femi Azeez out on the right. And then our Kont partnered Coburn up front. Chat and Charlie, I mean, tell us, what was your thoughts on the 11? Was you surprised? Was you shocked? I mean, what was the initial response to the 11? Because my initial response was, this is all-out attack. This is direct. This is get in their face, pin them back, use Coburn as the battering ram, let our Kont feed off of him, get the 2 guys out on the wing, playing a high line, chalking their boots, and really try and stick it to Bristol. And I felt that we did what the starting 11 showed us to be, right? How Alex Neil clearly set us up to be that direct style of football. Our Kont gave us that little bit of drift where he drifted onto that left-hand side, popped up in the 10 a couple of times, poked out on the right a couple of times. He kind of given that free role in that attack to really get around Coburn and make the Bristol City defence guessing. And that was my first thought. That I was a little bit surprised, but I thought this is a really decent starting 11, as Riggs said, considering the injuries.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think, like you said, out of possession, it allowed our Kont to go on that left, let Negley do the kind of the dog work which we're used to, and obviously lets him cover the ground that he needs to. But then as soon as we win it back, it's basically like a reshuffle, and then we go forward. And obviously, I think it's very similar to when we have Coburn and Ivanovic up front together. Just obviously, Ivanovic is more or less, he wants his feet to finish. And obviously, with a Kont, he was just like, pretty much, you flick it on, I'll just do the dog work. And, there was one bit of skill where I think Coburn flicked it off down the line. He managed to drag it back and go through his legs, and he eventually, I think that's where the first yellow card came from. But like ultimately, I just think it suited us to a T, especially away from home where we didn't expect to have the ball. And to be fair, with the front foot that we had, I generally didn't see us dominating the game the way it went. But obviously we did. So,
and I think we're going to welcome in on that note, Callum. Callum, how you doing, mate?
Mate, you?
Very, very well. Just going through the gut reaction to the weekend, mate. You was up there, I was up there, you was up there with Charlie. Take us through your gut reaction, mate, on that win.
Oh, mate, it was brilliant. I thought the boys played so well. I was quite surprised, actually, I must admit, because we didn't know what to expect. I mean, the other day, we didn't really know what to expect. But I said 1-1, I didn't really expect us to win 2-0. But I thought, apart from a couple of players that I'll probably mention later on in the show, but I thought all of them were very, very good. I thought we were by far the better team on the day. Obviously, they were down to 10 men, which obviously you could say is probably a little bit of a disadvantage to them. But I thought with 11 men in the first half, I mean, I was saying it in the stands, I thought we were absolutely phenomenal that first half.
Yeah, you sound like Darth Vader, mate. Sort your audio out. Don't know what's going on there. But no, I think you're absolutely right. And we were just mentioning about the starting 11 that, it may have been a little bit of surprise, but it's also, a bit of confidence from Neil that this team can go out there in a 4-4-2 and go and get a result. And my God, So let's take a look at the game then, because I felt that, I don't know what you boys thought, but I felt that we had them from the off, right? From the off, it was get the ball into Coburn, get around him. We did that. We created numerous chances in the game. And it just felt like it was a matter of time before we went 1-0 up, right? It was a bit of a topsy-turvy start to the game with the new rules, though, boys. I want to get your thoughts on the new rules, because what Alex Neil said after the game, I felt was right, is that the new rules were brought in to stop time wasting, right? But after a few minutes, we're giving away corners from not taking goal kicks. We're giving away throw-ins to the opposition for not taking our throw-ins quick enough. You just felt, is this another ref who's going to let the rules dictate the game or try and take over the game himself? It got better second half, but what was your thoughts on those rule changes of going from a goal kick to conceding a corner? Because we was quite on top, but those moments really broke up our play, broke up our momentum, and then Bristol City started to just not really overpower us, not really take the game over, because I still felt we was in charge, but they started to then show some flashes at what they can do, right?
Yeah.
I think, go on, Cal.
No, I think if you look at the throw-ins and the goal kicks, if we go back to the first half and, Jensen obviously took too long, I think that you know, I mean, it took quite a long time, to be fair, because you got in a bit of a mind spangle of whether to pass it to Cooper or Taylor or whether to kick it long.
Well, yeah, but the common sense has got to prevail here, right? Because Alex Neil said, like, they was told that if you're going to take a goal kick short and then you decide to go long, common sense will prevail and you'll let it go over, right? And as Dark Roo says, first 15, the ref was overdoing it. And I thought he was. I thought it just broke the game up too much. You couldn't sustain some momentum, then broke up whatever momentum that you had. And the players were often confused as well, because I noticed that the ref would, when we would have a throw in, the ref would hands up, right? 5, 4, etc. But when Bristol City would have a throw in, that was delayed. That wasn't happening. He wasn't putting his hand up. It was very, as Riggs says, the ref wanted to sort of control the game a little bit. I felt that the ref didn't have a bad game, mind you. I don't think the ref was poor by any chance. I thought all the big decisions he probably got right, apart from maybe one we'll talk about in a little while. Mm-hmm. But I just felt that the refs were kind of really trying to enforce these new laws, realising it was a little bit much and then letting common sense prevail in the second half, which was fine because, you know, we did start to build some momentum after that, right? And then you get to a point where Bristol City are starting to maybe turn the screw a little bit. We win the ball in our half on the 40th minute, or no, just before that, about the 35th minute. Josh Coburn turns Adam Randall, who's already been booked, and right in front of the ref, got Azeez out on that right-hand side. I believe it's Azeez. No, it's Kyrell Lisbie out on that right-hand side. He's on at this point. He's away, right? He's gone and just needs to feed him. Lisbie's then through, and you'd argue with his pace, probably beats, I think it was Dickie at the back at that time, was the furthest back, probably beats him, and then we go on to have a goal-scoring opportunity. What is Adam Randall doing? And this did change the game, the red card, right? This did change the game, but I felt it changed the game where it just made our job easier, because I still felt we were the better team, regardless of if they had 11 men on the pitch or not. But your thoughts on the red card, I mean, what a stupid decision from Randall. I'd be livid if that was one of us, right? Because that's not taking one for the team. That's doing it right in front of the referee on a goal scoring opportunity. You're not going to, that's not Sean Williams against James Henry against Wolves, where he's literally like 15 yards out from goal, one-on-one with the keeper. That's not that type of taking one for the team. He's in our own half. Like, he's got players behind the ball as well. Stupid decision from him. Ultimately, one that, you know, helped us in our quest for 3 points, right, Char?
Yeah, I think, like you said about the referee, and especially the Championship, they always want to, some of them just want to be the main man all the time. I think going back to the rules you said about, you know, I remember when Arsenal got done a few times at the start of the season with the kicking the ball away and all that sort of thing. Like, they were heavily done. And then as soon as the referees kind of were like, okay, we've had a bit of fun with this now, we'll just long out, everyone went back to usual. And it felt the same with us, to be fair. Like you said, he kept changing us, giving them a corner. We gave away a throw-in. They took too long on the throw-in, gave it back to us, and it was just like, that was pointless. And it was just like, it is pointless at that point. I think unless it's the 80th minute, you know it's time wasting, just play on. You're wasting your own time. But going back to the red card, it pretty much was signed, still delivered at that point. You're literally right in front of you are man marking the referee at that point as well at the same time. Like, you're literally right in front of him. It was just no point doing that for him. And to be fair, it did ruin their game in general. Because like I said, they were dangerous on that counter. There's a few where I think Don Ballard got in, he hit it just wide when he kind of swiveled and hit it. And again, we go, look, there's one at Cooper. You know, does he tug Tolage on the way through? I think we were quite lucky on that one. You look back at it, but again, he just throws himself to the floor, and probably quite similar to how Coburn, you know, to us, we look like it's a pen. I've seen different angles. It looks like a pen, but the way he goes down, you can see the little kind of dramatisize of it. But yeah, with the red card, I think there was no issues. I think you can't really complain, to be fair.
No, you can't. And but before that, there was a bigger talking point, right, than the red card, a much bigger talking point, and that was, you just mentioned it there, is that Josh Coburn did go through on what seemingly was a one-on-one with a goalkeeper. Remove that one, Dan. We're not putting that one up yet. I think it's a penalty, and Dan's going to put the video up in a minute when I'll send it to him. But I think it's a penalty. I do think it's a penalty. I think the way that Coburn goes down, I think, does make the referee make a decision, right? It looks like it looks like he's dived. And I do understand it. I do understand why it looks like he's dived, but you've got to see it for what it was, right? It's right in front of the ref. He's clearly, in my opinion, hooked his leg. But Coburn's theatrics make it easy for the ref not to give it, because he goes, well, he's dived. He's made a mill of it. Dan's going to put the video up shortly. Chat, I want your opinion on this video. This is from a Bristol City end. What is your thoughts on this? Is it a penalty? Is it not? On first glance, I do think it's a penalty. But, I mean, boys, if Coburn's going to dive down like that, the ref's only going to make that decision. He probably, in his own head, got the call right. VAR would probably give a penalty. But all the ref has seen is Coburn leave his leg there.
Maybe we're starting to benefit from EFL refs because, lads, this is the clearest penalty I've ever seen. Seriously, how did we get away with that?
I mean, Dan, run it through one more time for the chat.
Maybe we're starting to benefit from EFL refs because, lads, this is the clearest penalty I've ever seen. Seriously, how did we get away with that?
Yeah, I mean,
it's a
thoughts on
difficult
that,
one,
and
innit?
I do think it's a penalty. I just think that Coburn's reaction made the ref go, well, it can't be a penalty. Why did he feel the need to dive?
I generally feel sorry for Coburn every single weekend. I generally think he gets thrown about, never gets a foul. Whenever he's kind of even lifting his arms up, he gives away a foul. Half the time his shirt's up his neck and it's fine. And then, as I said, like, it's one of them ones where it's kind of like he has probably thrown his foot towards the keeper, but the keeper's literally swept him out, and then you don't get it. So
yeah, I mean, I remember when we were sitting. Obviously, we were all sitting together, weren't we? But I think, Charlie, do you remember when I said I'm not sure? Because, like you just said, Jay, from where we were sitting, it looked like he did get clipped, but then he was already going down. So I think that's what the referee's probably seen as him going forward when it is a penalty. No matter what we say, it is a penalty. I'm not denying that it's not a penalty. I'm just saying that the way he's gone down looks like he's looking for it, which he probably is, because every striker will be doing exactly the same thing. My point is, from when he's been touched to when he's gone down, for me, I think that's where the referee's given him a yellow card for diving. But it is a penalty for me. After watching from that angle, I haven't actually seen
Stonewall, and as Lionheart says, that we should have had another penalty for a handball as well. I do feel the ref was pretty good overall. I mean, you get some poor refs in this league, and without VAR, they make split-second decisions. I thought the ref overall did have himself a decent game. I'm not going to lie about it. But that was the first big talking point for Millwall, was that missed penalty. And we're pretty on top at this point, but then we come back to the same demon that has been haunting us, right? And the injury bug looks like it may have struck us again. And we'll touch on it a little bit more later with some of the things Alex Neil had to say. But Femi Azeez goes down. Looks like a hamstring. Looks like he just feels it from where I am. He then takes a seat and he comes off. He walks off and then Kyrell Lisbie comes on, and Kyrell Lisbie plays on the right-hand side. Alex Neil, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, I mean, chat, tell me what you think when you hear the Alex Neil interview, he sounds a bit fed up. He sounds fed up with the whole, whether it's the injuries or whether it's, is Femi injured? These are just all the things that you think might be going through his head, right? Because Neil's got the talisman. He calls him the talisman. He called him the best winger in the league. And when he goes down injured like that, we don't know if he's injured yet. It hasn't come out yet. So, we've got to reserve judgment on that. But it just sounded like to me that Neil was really starting to get on his nerves, right? But that being said, Azeez goes off injured. I want your thoughts on that. Secondly, I want your thoughts on his replacement, because, I mean, that was absolutely unbelievable, that performance from Kyrell Lisbie.
Yeah, I mean, from my point of view, when I see Azeez go down, I actually started laughing. I don't know if you remember, I started laughing because I was like,
do you know what? A few people around there started going, the conspiracy theories are going to come out, right? They're going to be, oh, he's not injured, he's gone down. I see some comments that Gallen had just made a deal and it got down to the bench. Tell Azeez to go down. He's got to sign a contract. All that's going to come out, and it will come out, as far-fetched as it might sound, right? That this stuff is going to come out, and as bad as it is, and as, like I say, as far-fetched as it is, you ain't going to stop it until it's done. Either goes or he stays. And when you do see these little injuries or these apparent injuries, I mean, like, we don't know the extent. It could be another 𝗖𝗢𝗪𝗪𝗟, right? Or he just felt it, and all of a sudden he's out for 2 months. I hope he's not injured, because he's a very important player for us. But I also hope that it isn't transfer speculation that's forcing anybody's hand, because otherwise, the rumour mill starts going and we suffer for it, right? But as some of the comments, as Robbo says, as our Deb says, he was class. I mean, for a left winger, he come on and he's debut in the Championship to play on the right wing. So already he's playing in a position that is not his favourite. But I agree 100% with what Robbo says. I thought we looked better. I thought we looked more dynamic. I thought we looked quicker. I thought we looked like that posed more of an unpredictable threat. Femi would have still gave us the same outlet. I don't think in a sense that we were going to be a better team without Femi. I just felt we looked more attacking. I felt we looked more pacey. Thoughts on that? Charles, I'll come to you first, mate. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, what a debut. I mean, pretty much, unfortunately, the offside goal, I mean, ruined it for it. That was literally going to complete the best feeling, I think, for him in the sense of like, there probably wasn't anything more he could have done in that game than get a goal. And then you look at even just the work rate, the amount of times he was running back, slide tackling, getting in the faces of people, that little exchange with Jed towards the end when he tries to shake his hand and he says, yeah, all right, jog on, mate. Like, just everything about the debut, I think, has made him an instant fan favourite. And to be fair, Everett deserves it. Like, and honestly, he's unreal. And like you said, he's a speed demon. He can cut in. There was one point where the left back, I don't know what he was doing, because he was just turning side to side to side and said, yeah, see you later, mate, and just went past him with ease. And as I said, I think there was only one thing probably missing from his game, and it was a goal. But, there's definitely more to come from him, and it's so exciting. But like you said, obviously, Femi's a big miss regardless of whether he stays or goes. And, for what he's given for the club, regardless if he stays or goes, like you said, it's more dynamic, more direct with Lisbie. But with Femi, he just got an outlet. But it's an unbelievable outlet to have. But yeah, like you said, it's dragging on. It's probably got to the point now where even the fans, I think some of us are bored of it. I think, I've seen things online where people are saying, just take even half the money at this point, like, to get rid of him, like, let it go now. And I'm like, I can understand that, but I feel like if we don't need to sell him, we don't need to sell him. The money, he's still a quality player where the money will be there in January or the end of the year. So at the end of the day, if he can help us propel us still to the top ends of the league, then the London clubs are running the league at the moment. So
it's a shame, and look, we're not going to speculate on what Femi feels or what he thinks, because we don't know that. We're not going to speculate on his intentions. He may well be injured, and I hope he's not, because we do need him. And I don't paint Femi as that. I do think he's a committed player for the club. I think that what may have happened, and this is just what I think, that he may have felt a twinge and he may have thought, I need to get off, because if I do make this worse, then I ain't got no chance of going anywhere, right? Because I am injured. So maybe there is an element of that playing in his mind. You just need the window to end. And this is why I think the window being still open when the season's live needs to change. The window should shut before the season starts, right? Because it don't help clubs like us who have got these assets that teams want. It doesn't help us, because teams then push it to the final week of the window. They then go and, give you what you want, or they come in with an offer you can't refuse. We then sell the player. Then we're playing catch up to try and bring someone in. I don't think it works. And they should change it. But that's the fault of Femi, because not long after that, on the first minute, we do break the deadlock, and it's Lisbie involved again, right? And brilliant work on that right-hand side, and he plays fantastic ball just on the outside of the defender for Ryan Leonard, Ryan Leonard was outstanding, by the way. Because Ryan Leonard was outstanding. We'll talk about him more in a moment. But it gets to the byline. Lenny's got just enough pace to cut it back, excellently cut back. What the keeper's doing. I mean, we did on the goalkeeper show that we should be interested in Sam Tickle after Saturday, because he just parries it to Josh Coburn, who taps it in, and Millwall, in my opinion, like a deserved 1-0 lead.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah, definitely. I think, like you said, Lisbie, as soon as he came on, he was just a threat down that right-hand side. The left back couldn't cope with him. And Lenny does really well to get that ball. I mean, it's like nip and tuck to go out for a goal kick, but he keeps it on. And then, Tickle, goodness me, what was he doing? I couldn't believe it. It looked like the keeper had it from where we were sat. And then next thing you know, it goes into the back of the net and we're like all cheering. So, but yeah, look, I think Lenny made that goal. I think it's brilliant work down the right from him.
Yeah, he was outstanding, Charles, wasn't he? There was question marks over Lenny, worrying about it, and not for his quality at all. It's nothing to do with his quality, but his age and the dynamics of some of the wingers in this division now, and more so how we play, right? With wanting to be that attack down that right hand side with Femi. We saw without Kramer doing them bombing runs, kind of lose some of the dynamics. I didn't feel we skipped a beat on Saturday in terms of our attack down that right-hand side, because Lisbie was dropping deep, doing the defensive work, but he had the legs to to get going. At one point, Neil actually said there was talk of actually taking Lisbie back off because he just runs and didn't want to burn him out. But outstanding from Lenny.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, when we did our pre-match, we obviously were talking about, is it going to be Lenny? Is it going to be Styx? And,
we
I was
agreed
one
on
for...
Lenny in the end, right?
Yeah,
I was one for Styx.
Yeah, we agreed
Yeah.
on Lenny, but like as I said about Lenny, in terms of his overall game, he's levels above where Sykes is as a defender. And obviously going forward, it's not the same Lenny. He hasn't got those legs where, like, to be fair, he proved us wrong on Saturday, but like he's not going to give you that type of game consistently because you just know he's going to get 1 or 2 knocks every now and then, and he's going to be in and out of the team. But if you're fully fit, like Lendog is fit, then you're playing him at right back, especially with Kramer out. There is no speculation. Same kind of thing with Jensen and Max. It's no kind of question over Max. It's just a question of how good Jensen's obviously been recently. And obviously same for Lenny over Sykes. I think, Sykes hasn't really proved it. And Lenny's never, ever realistically put a foot wrong since he's kind of dropped out of that centre mid role for us when he was first signed. He's been outstanding.
Yeah, and Lionheart hits the nail on the head. As we said, it's got nothing to do with his ability. It's whether he's got the legs anymore to be able to do it Tuesday, Saturday. And I don't think he will. And I wouldn't want him to, right? Because we want to keep him fresh. He was outstanding. I want to be able to keep him fresh because we are going to need him. Whether we dip into the market for right back, for someone that can cover both, will remain to be seen. But yeah, absolutely outstanding from Lenny. Really good cutback and a good poacher's finish from Coburn, because the keeper might have parried it into a bad position, but Coburn's got to be there, right? He's got to have made the run to begin with. He's got to have put the keeper under enough pressure to parry it out in the first place and not make it comfortable for him. Coburn did what any good striker should be doing: get himself in that position, force the keeper into an error, and then be there to mop it up. And he did that, and it was an absolutely outstanding team goal from Millwall. Then comes half time, but before that, on around the 25th minute, we get a championship hydration break. And I think there's a comment a few back, utter woke nonsense, bringing politics. And I agree. I mean, look, it was hot. It was a really hot day. I mean, I've just gone, if you haven't seen me, guys, you're realising where his hair's gone. I didn't put any sun cream on. This is all new to me. This is in support of my mum for having cancer, not because I'm actually losing my hair. But I forgot to put sun cream on, and I kept going, it's a little bit warm. So I imagine it was hot for the players. But, I mean, hydration breaks? I mean, is this going to be did anybody else see it in any other game? It weren't in the Burnley West Ham game.
No.
And I don't think it was in the Watford Southampton game. I mean, I might be wrong. Someone correct me, but was it in any other game? Or did we just have the game where everything happened for the first time? The new rules, the hydration, but was we the trial game because, the FA have got it in for us? I don't know, but I hope this isn't a common theme.
I feel like it must have.
Me is when in October in Stoke away, when we're having it on a Tuesday night, that's when it'll bother me. I mean, hydration breaks, boys.
Yeah, no, it is a joke. I said to Cal at one point, I was like, oh, 𝗕𝗥𝗓𝗪 coming out at half time. I was just waiting for something like, who's the half time show? Like,
they break up momentum. They're no good for the game, right? They might be good they're good because they're healthy. They give the players a thing, a break, and they could take on some fluids. I understand. As Lionheart says, didn't see it in the Preston Bolton game. That was quite a warm game, and that was the early kickoff. I watched a bit of that. But you've got to think of, does this actually help players? Because their body then starts to cool down, their muscles then start to, relax a little bit. And this is where injuries come from, right? Because it's stop, start. You shouldn't be start-starting. You have a half-time break for
To be fair,
right?
though, you saw it in the World Cup, though. It changed so many games. And to be fair, it almost changed our game. I think, to be fair, straight after the hydration break was probably Bristol's best 5 to 10 period, yeah. It completely changed. It was lucky enough for us that they obviously kind of bottled it for themselves and got red carded. But like I said in the World Cup, you saw so many games where teams had the upper hand the whole game. As soon as that hydration break went in, the other team instantly got like a 20-minute boost.
Exactly. Yeah. It don't take 3 minutes.
I don't like it. Just get rid of it. Like, it literally just kills the game for the fans. Not only for the fans, but just in general. I mean, if you're watching on TV and you're like, the game's getting good, from like a fan's perspective, the game's getting good, and then it stops and you're like, got to wait here for like another 5 minutes now. We was all like sitting down. I was like, why are they taking so long? I mean, I get it's hot, but I mean, it's just an absolute joke. The legendary rule
says it's applicable if it's over 25 degrees and must be accepted by both teams for it to be used. So there is a political element with it. There is a policy, there is a rule behind just enforcing it. Obviously, it's not the refs. I didn't know this, so thank you Legend Reborn for putting that out there and making us aware of that. So obviously we would have both had to agree with it. I generally don't for that I need a piss break. Yeah, exactly. I generally don't like it because I do think it breaks up the momentum that we had. If you're on top, I do think it can be a bit of a problem. But nevertheless, it didn't alter the outcome of the game. Bristol City did have a few chances. 𝗤𝗓𝗪 come through and played Ballard in a lovely little knockback, sent Cooper for a bit of a hot dog, and then he puts it wide, which is probably their best chance of the game, to be honest with you. Then it's half time and you think, what do Bristol do here? Because I would have personally took one of the centre forwards off, put another midfielder on, try to crowd the midfield. We're playing a 2-man central midfield, get someone extra in the midfield, and then try and impose ourselves. Yeah, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Nice one, GC. Yeah, I've had them all, mate. I've had them all. Some worse ones than that, so I'm quite pleased by that. But yeah, it's like, that's what I would have done. They chose to keep 2 strikers on. Fair play. I think that played into our hands. It allowed us to stay more direct. And then straight after the break, we make no changes, which is the right call. And straight after the break, on the 50th minute, we're 2 up, and it's brilliant work again on the right-hand side. I believe it's Lenny just knocks it back to 𝗕𝗥𝗪𝗧𝗢𝗟, and he plays a beautiful ball in it. At first, you're thinking he's put too much on that, too much height. It's a bit floated. It maybe a bit more of a whipped ball in would have been a bit better, but it gave it enough for Coburn to give himself a steady platform. The defender was failing him. I think it's a penalty if Coburn doesn't get his head on it. I think it would have been a penalty. We will definitely talk about that in a minute, Robbo, 100%, because Taylor was incredible. Brilliant ball in from Metcalf. Sam Tickle's standing there. Coburn deals with Dickey, just drops him on his arse, heads it straight in the bottom corner, our corner. It will 2-0 up.
Yeah, I mean, I said to Cal, I didn't even know we scored. Literally, I was so many people in and around us just started jumping. It was like, I don't even know what's happened here. All I saw was that, like you said, Metcalf put that ball in so high. I generally just went, I looked away for a second thinking, he's overhit that. And I just see everyone around me just shouting, jumping around me. And I was thinking, what's happened here? And then, like, obviously watching it back, you've seen it. But like, I just missed it. I just started just celebrating. It's like, obviously, didn't even see it because it went literally so lofted over. Instinctively, I saw the defender on his bum, so I thought, right, he's probably fouled him here. And obviously, we scored from it. So I was like, wow, fair play.
Initially, it looked like Coburn might have fouled Dickey, but it weren't. Coburn was being fouled. He was being pulled, sat on. And Coburn, fair play to, I felt that he was a complete. That was probably, I believe that's probably the most dominant I've seen Josh Coburn in terms of dealing with 2 central defenders, right? He's had it all, the games he played last season when he came back. But I felt the way that he held the line, the way he brought Ōkont into play, the way he ran the channel himself and put a lovely ball in for Ōkont, who should have scored. He's not gonna miss. I mean, fair play. We got miss of the season out of the way in game week 1. Ōkont's not going to miss a bigger sitter than that, right? Great ball in from Coburn, but that didn't diminish Ōkont's performance because I thought Ōkont was absolutely outstanding.
Yeah, no, he was. I said it's probably the same as Lisbie. I think for a debut, it went as well as you could do without a goal.
Yeah, I thought he was fantastic. I thought, you look at the way he played, he just with no pressure, he just looked so comfortable out on that pitch. And you know what? I mean, not just him, it was just all of the new signings proved their worth for the summer window so far. I think all of them played absolutely phenomenally. They didn't normally, when you come up from, League One and from abroad, you normally don't get these players playing like the way they did in the first game. You always think, oh, well, they still need to improve this, still need to improve that. But I think all of them proved that they can play at this level. And that I think they've got more levels to go to, Jay, which is even more pleasing, is the fact that it's only game week 1 and they're playing like that. Imagine, if they carry on getting the minutes and, keep starting in the team. And bear in mind, with the injuries that we've got in the minute, I mean, it's looking very, very, very good with, the players we've got out, and then adding these players that played on Saturday. We're looking very, very positive. Yeah.
And you look at 𝗕𝗥𝗪𝗧𝗢𝗟. I mean, you've got 𝗖𝗓𝗪𝗧𝗍, Del Boy, probably looking a bit of ahead of him when he was first brought in. Might need a bit of time. He was outstanding, right? Every tackle, he's flying in, he's winning, he's all over the pitch. He's allowing 𝗕𝗪𝗪𝗧𝗍 to dictate. He's the press. He was so far up at one point, I thought he was playing as a striker. And then he gets the assist. Outstanding day for 𝗕𝗥𝗪𝗧𝗍. Him and 𝗕𝗪𝗪𝗧𝗍. The one big thing I took out of the cool down from when I did the cool down for QPR was that I felt 𝗕𝗪𝗪𝗧𝗍 and 𝗕𝗥𝗪𝗪𝗧𝗍 it didn't work. I felt that they weren't on the same page. There was too many gaps. And they didn't really understand each other. Or I mean, what a difference, now a week can make, especially on the training pitch, because they was telepathic. They was both excellent. They was both dropping into the pockets, picking the ball up, playing into the channels. 𝗕𝗥𝗪𝗪𝗧𝗬 was just doing whatever the hell he wanted in that midfield. 𝗕𝗥𝗪𝗪𝗧𝗢 was stretching his pace and his power. He was really giving it hard for the fullbacks, which was allowing the overlap from Lisbie. Absolutely outstanding from all of them. And you still got Del Boy, you've still got 𝗕𝗧𝗪𝗪𝗧𝗬, you still got Ivanovic, you still got Azeez, you still got Kramer, you still got a lot of players to come back from injury. These are going to make it really difficult for them. I felt that every single one of the new boys. In 𝗖𝗥𝗪𝗪𝗧𝗬, I wouldn't say 𝗖𝗥𝗪𝗪𝗧𝗍 was outstanding. I wouldn't say he was poor. I felt that, he come on to play that right-sided midfield and he was drifting in a little bit. And I felt that, he's going back to Bristol where he spent a few years. But he wasn't poor. He wasn't poor. I just don't think he was at the level of the others, which, is a testament to how well the other guys played. And then Kyrell Lisbie, I mean, he absolutely, when Jed Wallace came on, Jed Wallace got a stick all game. He's brilliant. When he was coming down in front of us, the away end to warm up, and we, was giving it to him, and he takes it all in good stead, right? Jed Wallace, if I was Jed Wallace, I'd honestly think, am I up for this anymore? Because Kyrell Lisbie, 100%, Jed Wallace is sitting in his front room that night, probably with a TV off, just looking at the reflection back at himself, going, I don't think I could do this anymore. Kyrell Lisbie absolutely handed it to him. Unbelievably handed it to him. Sat him down. There was like nutmegs. There was olays. He was flicking it around him. At one point, he stopped the cross and then took the ball on. And then Jed Wallace, you can see the frustration. He's fouled him. And the best bit about it is he's got up to, say, like, I'm sorry to Lisbie. And Lisbie's throwing his hand off of it. And then the chants come out, right? And then the chants come out. Kyrell Lisbie, he's better than you. And then that just elevated Lisbie because you could tell he's a play up to the fans type of player, right? Because then he latched onto that. Then he's just playing with Jed Wallace at this point. And I love Jed Wallace. Jed was a great servant for Millwall, and he still does do great things for Millwall, even though he hasn't played for Millwall. When JB died, etc. He come down, laid reeds. So he still loves the club, Jed. But my word, he got absolutely torn to pieces by Lisbie. And fair play to Lisbie for stepping up against someone like Jed Wallace.
I love him.
Yeah, I mean,
I love him.
To be fair, that's back-to-back seasons now we've played against Jed and he's had a winger just destroy him. Last year it was Femi at home when he scored the worldie. This year it's obviously Bristol and Lisbie's tearing him to pieces. So
yeah, I love him. I mean, I remember when we got a corner in the second half and he was just, waving his hands to cheer the crowd up like that. And that for me, I just knew straight away. I just loved him from that minute. And then, as you said, the best bit was like Charlie said, and you just said, was when Jed fouled him, and you knew he was angry. But the best bit about it was he literally went to put his hand out and he put it behind his back, and all the fans just started giving it, just saying yeah. And we all loved him from that point because Wallace wasn't happy. He was fuming. I mean, he kept on like grabbing him, things like that, and Lisbie weren't having it. And I don't feel like we've had a player like that for a while, where because normally players would normally handshake after they've had a tackle and that, but I don't remember the last time we've had a player where they've taken the mick out of another player before. I mean, I can't remember where the chat can.
We've had great right wingers.
Just great that right bit, wingers. Yeah.
Have we had the left? Name me the last good left winger that's ever played for Millwall. Mark Kennedy is probably the best left-sided midfielder. Might be. You don't even know that.
Yeah. Do we do it for Harry?
We're lucky we ain't got Harry in the chat.
Yeah, Danny and Gesson's in the chat.
Danny and Gesson is not. But I mean, Kennedy for me is chat. Give us your opinion. Who was the last real great left-sided winger? We haven't had one, right? We had Lee Martin come over there at one point. I think 𝗕𝗥𝗪𝗪𝗧𝗬 tried his trade out there a few times. Aidan O'Brien tried to go out there, but he was more of a forward. We had a great left winger, someone to do what Kyrell Lisbie did. He absolutely was just so electric. He was, and the good thing about Lisbie is he made all the right decisions, right? Didn't really lose the ball, didn't get frustrated. Every decision he made was right. If the cross wasn't on, he dropped. 𝗕𝗥𝗪𝗧𝗢𝗪𝗓 a great shout as well. Yeah, 𝗕𝗥𝗪𝗓𝗓 was great. You've got to look at the decisions he made as well. So he would cut it back and play it back to 𝗕𝗥𝗪𝗪𝗧𝗢𝗪. He wouldn't go for the Hollywood ball. He just made the right decisions and he had an excellent game. I thought he was outstanding. If he played from minute one and Josh Coburn didn't score 2 goals, you might get a man of the match shout for Lisbie, 100%. Yeah, Reedy when he played on the left. Mark Kennedy for me was unbelievable. Evening, Max. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to the show. But that's some of the new guys. I mean, let's talk about some of the existing. Josh Coburn. Start with Coburn. 2 goals, absolutely unbelievable performance. I agree, John. We should wait 10 games, but it's very easy to get overexcited. But I do agree. Let's
Good point.
tone it down a little.
Could be taking a piss out of them next week.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he'd be a villain next week. But great. Yeah, but I think Josh Coburn and Alex Neil said it that when he's like that, he's one of the best strikers in the league. And I absolutely agree because, like I said earlier, the way he led that line, the way he held the ball, the way he brought Arcont into. I mean, Arcont made it easy for him because the defenders were so scared of Arcont's power and pace. It left Coburn with a bit of freedom, but I just felt the way he ran the channel. I just felt it was a proper striker's display. I don't think Coburn could have done any better. He almost had an assist. Maybe a hat-trick off that penalty, but thoughts on Coburn? I mean, we'll talk about man of the match in a minute, but outstanding performance from Coburn.
Yeah, no, I think you've come to expect that in certain games. I think there's not one game you probably sit there and think, well, he's done nothing this game. Because regardless of if he scores or not, there's one difference between him and Ivanovic is that he works his arse off. You see that home and away, he'll chase every ball, he'll throw himself around, and half the time he's getting fouled and he doesn't get anything for it.
But he said he's been working on his headers and, the physicality side of things with Livers in training. Well, whatever Livers has done with him, Cal.
Yeah, I mean, I was just about to touch on that. I just think that, the work that he's done over the summer, you can just definitely see that from the way he's just played that game on Saturday. But I think what's more impressed me is that a couple of times last season, we were talking about, I think for me personally, Coburn getting into positions in the box was probably one of the areas where he probably needed to work on a little bit. And I feel like that performance, I know it's one game, but I think you can definitely see that he's been working hard over the summer. I mean, I've seen some of his videos on social media as well that he's been training during the summer, and I think it's the first game that he's played this season. Let's not talk about pre-season because we don't really look too much into that a little bit, but from that game, he's definitely worked on it 100%. And yeah, we'll just see where he goes. I think it's a great start for him. The 2 goals, not bad, is it? I think he's joint top goal scorer at the minute. Let's see where it comes on game 40, game week 46.
You mentioned pre-season there, right? You mentioned pre-season, and yeah, I mean, I was at every pre-season game. I weren't in Spain, but I was at all the others. And you're thinking, we can't even score a goal. We don't even look good in attack. We look quite poor. It just showed how little pre-season means, and it is just about energy levels because we've got the best XG in the league after one game. Kept a clean sheet. We attacked in numbers. We attacked in different. We created so many chances. Negley created 5 chances, and Negley wasn't even one of the top 3 or 4 performers on the pitch, and he still created the most chances in the game. So yeah, it absolutely blows out of proportion that what people think about pre-season. They're just glorified training sessions, and proved that on Saturday. Another player I want to talk to. There's 3 other players I want to talk about. The next one's 𝗕𝗓𝗪 Denouré, who got in the team of the week. Seen the papers team of the week. 𝗕𝗓𝗪 Denouré and Josh Coburn got in there. 𝗕𝗓𝗪 was excellent. He's got a job of a 2-man midfield playing against Bristol's, electric front 2. One of them was dropping into a 10. He's also got to worry about Jensen Metcalf, trying to bring him along, being that sort of midfield captain. He is Alex Neil's kind of captain on that field, in that midfield area, right? He's the one who gives the orders into the midfield area, parent in that midfield room, because it's a very young room. He was fantastic. He broke the play up. His passing was spot on. I don't remember him misplacing a pass, his tackles, his positioning. I mean, chat, get in the comments. I mean, thoughts on 𝗕𝗓𝗪's performance. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. Hey, Bobby T, welcome, mate. Hope you're having fun in Portugal. Thoughts on 𝗕𝗓𝗪?
Yeah, I mean, it's the polar opposite from QPR, really. He looked very sluggish, kind of kept giving balls away, didn't really know where he was. And I think, to be fair to him, I think that was pretty much down to QPR's way of playing. Obviously, again, they've seen it against Portsmouth as Pierce Charles, he's kicking unreal. And it can literally wipe out a whole press with just one pass. And I think that's what kept happening with ` and Metcalf. They just basically were chasing shadows because Pierce Charles was just pinging balls left, right, centre over their head. But Saturday, 𝗕𝗓𝗪's obviously You know, he's controlling that midfield. Yes, 10 men obviously helped. But there was one ball where it got laid back to him and he just swung it out to the corner
Out
flag.
to the,
That's a
out to the
Sturge.
left-hand side.
Yeah,
Out to
Sturge,
Sturge, yeah. It was just like,
Class. Yeah,
unreal.
just
class.
thinking, first time he's hit it like that. It's just mental. But
He
yeah,
was
he was
excellent.
unreal.
He really was, Cal, wasn't he? I mean, it's a and this and you know, as CG Lion just says there, put that back up for us, please, Dan. That comment there. He's got less than 12 months on his contract. This is someone who's so important to what we want to do in that midfield, so important to the room, so important to Alex Neil and the system. It's important to the fans as well. We love him. You know, we sing his name week in, week out. He gets the club now. You'd argue he's a veteran for us now, right? He's Millwall. I don't like this not contract talks, right? And there was speculation on his future, maybe he'd go back. And that should have been alarm bells to get him signed up because he's so important for us, right? So important.
Yeah. I mean, that performance on Saturday just goes to show how important he is for our team. And funny enough, that comment just came up because in my mind, while you guys were just speaking, if 𝗕𝗥𝗪𝗧𝗢𝗟 was fit to start, would he have played over 𝗕𝗥𝗪𝗧𝗢𝗪?
No, he'd have played over
probably
Jackson
not.
Metcalfe.
But I'm just saying, with the options now we've got with Derek, with Metcalfe, with 𝗕𝗥𝗪𝗧𝗢𝗪, Dan Kelly came on obviously on Saturday. I thought he did really well as well when he came on. We just got really so many options in that midfield. But yeah, look, I think overall you guys are hitting now on the head. Really, I think he was absolutely unbelievable, spraying balls left, right, and centre, hitting the mans, hitting the wide attackers and fullbacks, spraying the balls. And do you know what for me was very visible on Saturday was that we took our time. We took our time to we're not rushing. We weren't rushing at all. Normally when we get down and we play against 10 men, we get a bit erratic sometimes. Last season we got a bit erratic, but we just played like we were playing basically a training game, really. I know that sounds quite bad on Bristol City fans, but we just looked
when I went down to 10 men, it kind of was that, right?
Yeah. But I just loved the way we played with the ball. We looked a unit. We looked all together on the same wavelength. It was just some of the football we were playing was just absolute. I mean, we were sitting together and we were just like, what is going on? I mean,
we was olaying them for at least 3-4 minutes.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah, but this is a testament to Alex Neil and the mentality, right? Because in the past, and Alex Neil has said this as well, in the past, when teams have gone down to 10 men, we have often found it more difficult to break teams down and to go ahead. We'd probably be better off playing against 11. In the past, we see a player get sent off. That should make you feel good, right? You've got an advantage, but it hasn't been for Millwall in the past. It was on Saturday, and we did our bit. We had an advantage, and we took it, and we took it with both hands.
There was one bit I loved the most, I think, from Alex Neil's perspective, is when I think it was like towards the last 5 minutes and Negley got the ball on the wing. He rolled it with one foot and then tried to do a little cheeky pass inside, gave it straight away. Negley also being, Alex Neil was shouting at him. Like, you're thinking at this point, you know, you're 2-0 up, you're coasting, you are laying them for 3-4 minutes. He don't care. He's like, why are you doing that?
He wanted to score another one. He wanted to just keep scoring goals, and that's what.
That was one of the things he said, right?
Yeah.
I probably should have scored more goals.
I mean, we probably could have done, but we should have walked away even 4-5-0 that game.
I think that's one of the things, though, Jay, that we need to get better at this season if we want to get in that top 8. Is that whenever we I feel like we're in games and we're winning, we need to kill the game off. We don't tend to kill games off normally.
Go for the jugular. When you look at Archon, should have scored. Coburn should have scored.
We could have had 5.
Negley had a couple in the opening 5-10 minutes.
Lisbie offside.
Yeah.
We could have had 5 or 6, but we got the job done. We got a clean sheet. There is no negatives about that whatsoever. Let's talk about another player then, and I'll come to the other one last, but we've already spoke about him, Ryan Leonard. Just a mention for Ryan Leonard. I thought he was unbelievable. Defensively, he was strong. He actually looked fit. He was quick. Didn't put a foot wrong. He was aiding in the attack as well. He was getting the ball. What he was doing, which he hasn't done previously, was the early ball. He gets the ball played out to him on that right-hand side, and it's an early ball down the right-hand side. Gives him time to get up the field then, which he did. And he was in perfect position to set up Josh Coburn for the goal. I don't think it'll go down as an assist because the keeper saved it and parried it out. But yeah, Lenny's performance after being one that was probably questioned whether he would start and wouldn't start if Kramer was fit. But he was a massive reason why we won the game on Saturday.
Yeah, 100%. I think, like you said, Jay, about going long, but it wasn't just a sake of like he was just kicking it long. He knew we had Lisbie on the pace, we had our cunt running off the shoulder. He knew if he hit it into a position, the worst case is we get a throw in up and down the side of the pitch. But like with Lisbie, he wants to go in behind, he wants to go. Whereas Femi, he comes short, he wants it to feet, he wants to play a 1-2, knock it past them. So at least with having that pace on the wing, or even in behind, he knows if he goes long, like you said, those second balls he'll probably pick up anyway.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, to add that, yeah, I think Charlie's hit the nail on the head. I think he was assured, strong. He just looked fit as anything, like you said, Jay. He was absolutely phenomenal. And you know, like you said, we were talking about him before the game. What would he be like? Would he be fit? Would he be a bit sluggish? But I think he's proved all of us wrong. Where he's been a 10 out of 10 in that game, and just absolutely, he was just phenomenal. Yeah, he was really good. That's all I can say, really.
And as GC Lion says earlier on in the chat, that, you know, we've got to nurture Lenny a little bit, because he ain't going to do Tuesday, Saturday. And you want to keep him as fresh as possible, because there's no denying his quality. It's not a quality thing. You know, Father Time is undefeated, and it is catching up to Lenny. And you know, we have got to manage that to make sure he doesn't pick up any injuries, and that we can keep him as fresh as possible. But absolutely outstanding performance for him. Before we get on to our man of the match and final thoughts, there's one more player I want to talk about, and it has been mentioned already in the chat, but Caleb Taylor. I mean, that guy. I mean, Cooper's incredible, right? We could talk about Cooper till the cows come home, but Caleb Taylor, at one point, he was up front. He was like taking people on. His performance was, he's going to the top, right? He's, in my opinion, if you're talking about Femi Azeez and these players that are going to go for big money, he's the next one, because he has got absolutely everything. He's athletic. He's got size. He's incredible in the air. He's good on the ball. Good ball playing defender. Gets stuck in. He just won everything. I didn't see him lose a header. I didn't see him lose a 50-50 challenge. I didn't see him misplace a pass. I didn't see him do anything wrong. He was always on the ball. His performance was masterful, absolutely masterful. He really, really was so good, really so good.
Well, you look at, you know, Borough obviously signing Phillips for like, what, 20 million? If he's 20 million, Taylor's 30. Like, in a sense of where you're valuing these centre-backs, because Taylor is... He's definitely the top 3 centre-backs in this league up there. Like, he's 100%. Absolutely unreal. And, you know, to quote someone online that likes to talk a lot of rubbish, but, you know, who would choose West Brom over Millwall, right? Mm-hmm.
Well, they were in the Premier League one. I mean, you're going to go to a team that won the FA Cup in the, like, 30s, right?
In the 1900s, wasn't it?
Yeah, 1900s, yeah. It was in the 1900s, yeah. I remember rightly.
He just was, right? He was just unbelievable. It's fantastic performance from Taylor. Looks fit as well. Doesn't look like he's got a hangover from the injury. Looks really composed. Him and Cooper got such a fantastic partnership back there. And they were a big stalked reason why we made the playoffs, right? Because we didn't score a lot of goals, but we kept a lot of teams out. And it was down to them two. And, you know, it looks like it's going to be those two again. And it's imperative that we keep both of them fit. But I just thought Caleb Taylor was unbelievable. He was,
and you know, throughout the whole season, as well. I think you look at last season between Cooper, Taylor, and 𝗕𝗓𝗪, like the amount of contributions between them, like even just from like the aerial sides of it. But like, I think between 3 of them, I think it was over 12 contributions, just like knocking it back or scoring themselves. And obviously, he's won the goal against Southampton. We know he's got it in his locker as well. So he's just a full package.
Yeah, I mean,
he's just brilliant at Cal, isn't he?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, we talk about. I mean, 𝗕𝗓𝗪 was on one of our wish lists, I believe, in the summer, and he just made 𝗕𝗓𝗪 look like the smallest guy on the pitch. I mean, I
didn't even notice him.
Yeah, no, this is just what I'm saying. I think he just won like you said, we won every single ball, 50-50s. Plays the ball really nicely as well into the midfield. He just looks so comfortable on the ball. I mean, yeah, him and Cooper are going to be pivotal for us this season, like they have ever been every season. We have them, even last season, they're pivotal. But that whole backline defence, I am so comfortable with them playing with the ball. At times in the first half, I thought maybe we're playing around with it a bit too much, especially Cooper. And like, he had a few iffy moments in that first half where he nearly gave it away. But I think with that back four we've got at the moment, Sturridge, Jake Cooper, Caleb Taylor, Ryan Leonard, just absolutely solid. And, you know, with that back four, I think we've got any chance of keeping loads of clean sheets this season again.
100%. That's absolutely outstanding. Really good comment from Ian here, which is something I did want to touch on as well. Lyndon Dykes. Now, there was a big there was a bit of an uproar about signing Lyndon Dykes, but there was a problem last season that, look, the transfer window has all been about rectifying some of the issues that we had last season, right? It was not enough depth at the centre-back position. Well, we got that. We signed Danny Buff, we signed 𝗕𝗥𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗀h depth there. Not enough depth there. Not enough goals where you go and get you go and get 𝗕𝗥𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗀h depth you go and get Kyrell Lisbie. You bring in players that can score goals, right? From midfield, you get 𝗕𝗥𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪 with more goals than Billy Mitchell. So there's that element of it as well, right? The other element of it is the depth at striker with not being able or not wanting to change the style of play. The big problem last season was that we'd take Josh Coburn off for, he's been battered around for 60 minutes, and we'd still try and play Josh Coburn's style of football with 𝗕𝗏𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪 Langstaff to completely different types of striker compared to Josh Coburn. But what Lyndon Dykes is he is a Josh Coburn type striker, right? And you're laughing because a few people said, "Oh, you look like Lyndon Dykes." But I was a big advocate for the signing of Lyndon Dykes for this specific reason. And I felt when he came on Saturday, we didn't skip a beat because Dykes he looked fit, he was quick, he won the ball, he ran the channels, he put a few good balls in, he made a nuisance of himself, could have scored as well. He had like one or two opportunities. That was the most impressive thing for me about that signing, was that we played Josh Coburn football and didn't skip a Josh Coburn beat when he went off for Lyndon Dykes.
Yeah, I mean, even more surprisingly, I think there was a few times where he got in behind on the floor. Like, surprisingly, he was quite quick.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how slow like Dickie is, but I mean, to be fair, even Coburn looked like rapid in behind. But like, I think there was one ball where Sykes kind of played it. He kind of sliced it through it between the two defenders, and Dykes got onto it. And to be fair, he probably should have cut it across, and he tried to pull it back, and then it didn't work out. But overall, I don't think it was a bad performance. And like you said, it is probably more of a like for like in terms of a target man. But I mean, I'm still not sold on him in the sense of I'm not 100%. It's not really a signing I definitely would have made, but I definitely think there's better strikers out there. But like you said, in a sense of how we play our football, it's definitely not the worst signing.
I mean, experience on a free transfer, knows the league inside out, Callum. And, he was brought in to do exactly what he did on Saturday, which was see the game out.
No, I listen. I think
give Coburn a rest, much important rest.
Look, I think at first I was a bit 50-50 on it. But look, I think listening to many people and their opinion is all well said and good, but you actually need to see it for yourself whether it works or not. You can have all the opinions in the world, and it might not work, it might work. But going from this game, I mean, we need that striker to come on instead of Coburn to not mess up the style of play that we want to play in that game. And I think that Saturday's game was built for Dykes to come on for the remaining minutes to see the game out and to even score us a goal. And I thought he did his part. And that's all he can do. If he comes on, he impresses, which I think he did in some aspects, some good touches, some good build-up play, getting the wingers involved as well, winning us a few corners. He just played his part, mate, to be fair. I thought he did well. But listen, I think it's for the first game he did well, but we have to wait and see how he gets on, if he starts or anything like that in the future. So we'll see.
Listen, if he's going to keep Josh Coburn fit and raring to go every week, and then I mean, I said Josh Coburn on the warm up to the game. I said I think Josh Coburn a bag 15 this season. He's got 2 already. He's got 45 left. If Dykes can keep him fresh enough, give him a 20-minute break every single week. Who knows? I think it's going to be
still got 𝗕𝗏𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗀 as well, ready to come back as well.
You look at it like this, right? You got Coburn Azeez, and then in your cup games or when you need to rest and you still want to play 2 up top, you go 𝗕𝗏𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪 key to the recruitment of this off-season is to get bigger, get more physical, get more depth, and keep the style of play that we want to play while having options like Dykes for Coburn. But yeah, I think as Robbo said, no-brainer for what we're bringing him in for as a third, fourth choice striker, and on a free with his experience. You know, he was Charlton's number one at one point. Talking about levels there, but there you go. Let's get on to our final segment, the man of the match then. Dan, do not put the image up yet. We'll put it up at the end. You've already spoiled it, but never mind. In the chat, everybody, who was your vote for man of the match? I'll go around the room. Charlie, who is your vote for man of the match?
Yeah, I think probably based off the game, it's probably the hardest man of the match choice to make, in the sense of pretty much everyone gave you a 8 out of 10 out of a minimum. And, you know, again, like you could have went with Taylor, you could have went with Lenny, and obviously Kasper. But I think just for the goals, and I think it's so important for him as a striker, because we know what Josh Coburn's like in terms of confidence. If he's out of confidence, he'll probably miss that first goal. It is the type of chance that he misses. But with the 2 confidence goals that he's got this season, it's a great way to start. So yeah, there is only one man. It is Josh Coburn.
Yeah, no, I agree. Your thoughts, Cal? Who's your man of the match? And chat, who's yours?
Yeah, I mean, I think Coburn will probably be the popular choice for man of the match, but for me, Kyrell Lisbie. For me, I think look,
Okay.
from the minute he came onto that pitch till the end of the game, the amount of grit he showed, the work rate, the flair that he brought to the game, the Jed Wallace situation was just fantastic to see, and he could have scored. He did score, but it was offside, and I think we look at Azeez last season. I do believe that Lisbie, if he stays fit, can be another Azeez where he goes on and gets goal contributions like Azeez did this season. I still believe that from watching him. I know it's one game. Yes, people might say you're going a bit too soon, but just the way he played on Saturday just makes me believe that if he stays fit the whole season, what a player we've got there.
It'd be nice to have him on one side and Azeez on the other. That would be for sure. I agree with your sentiments. I didn't have Lisbie. I agree why you put Lisbie. I thought he was electric when he came on. But I toyed between 2. I toyed between 𝗕𝗢𝗪𝗧𝗢𝗪 and Josh Coburn. I thought Taylor was incredible. Really do. I've got to give it to Coburn. I thought the way that he led the line, the way that he ran the channels, the way he brought others into play, not just the 2 goals he scored, but his positioning, even almost set one up as well. That should have been a goal, should have had an assist to his name. Just the way he worked so tirelessly, and to get off the mark like that, 2 goals, great day for Josh Coburn. You could get the image up, Dan. He is it's a 2-1 vote. It is Josh Coburn for our 1885 show voted man of the match, and people in the comments, you do tend to agree. So yeah, Josh Coburn's been the man of the match, and great as well, because if there's one thing that strikers are, is they are confidence players, and he would have loved that, and there's no doubt he'll go to Norwich on Saturday raring to go in front of a packed Den. Good show, guys. Everybody, final thoughts. What's your final thoughts? Chat, get your last minute questions in. We'll spend 5 minutes going over your thoughts or your questions, anything you want to ask, or you just want us to read out, or you get your opinions out there. Then we'll spend the next 5 minutes doing that. But Charlie, your final thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely something that I didn't expect. I expected a really tough battle, especially after last season's game away. But ultimately, I don't think we could have probably had a better start. I don't think we could have had a more dominant performance than what we have. I just hope we carry that obviously throughout to Saturday. And, it's always good to win the Drew Derby. So
the Drew Derby, yeah. Drew was having. I mean, someone checking on Drew. I mean, can we get like the Samaritan's number up, because Drew is I feel for him, because he's dying for that one time to beat us. Watch out, internet, when they do eventually beat us, and Drew is still active on social media. We'll never hear the end of it, because that man he's in a bit of limbo, isn't he, poor bloke? But nevertheless,
I mean, we're the worst team in the league, aren't we? So.
We always are. We always are.
Yeah.
What's the timeline for the injured to return? If we're talking about all of them, Chris, at the fans forum, I believe Neil said September, beginning of September, is going to be for Ivanovic and for 𝗖𝗎𝗪𝗧𝗢. Del Boy should be back at Norwich. He was only out for a couple of weeks. Norwich, potentially, but probably more so Southampton. So he's not long term. We should have those 3 back by September, definitely. Kramer looking a little bit more longer term, and we're still unsure on the issues with Femi Azeez. I'm sure that will come out. Maybe he's already out. Obviously, we're doing the live, so we're not on the socials, but I imagine we'll get some Azeez very, very soon. And the Azeez news. Drew's having a meltdown. Is he absolutely hate? He does, Robbo, didn't he? Don't he just hate us? It's funny, though. It's funny. I mean, you got to question the guy, but it is funny.
Do we get him on
Cal,
for an interview?
Thoughts?
Do we get
No,
Joe on
he
for an
wouldn't
interview?
come on.
No,
he wouldn't come on. It'd be so liable if he came on.
Yeah.
He said we have Neanderthal centre halves.
That'd be an absolute. I think
but
every Bristol City and family would be watching that interview.
yeah, final thoughts from you, Cal.
No, yeah, I think Charlie's basically said what I was going to say. It was just a great start. I'm so proud of the boys. I didn't think that we would play like that, but do you know what? It's given me more of an incentive that we can actually get that top 8 this season. I have said that I don't think we'll get in there this year, but if we keep playing like that, then consistently finishing in the top 8.
Fair
But
enough.
yeah, it's just about getting it. Listen, I think with the injuries we've got, with all of the Azeez talk going on, that was just such a great performance and such a great away day to start off the season. And we usually tend to not do so well at the start of seasons either. So, yeah, it's a great start, but we need to back it up with Norwich because we don't want Norwich to be a poor performance and a loss. So let's just hope that we can carry that on.
Yeah, look, and my thoughts are it's one game. It's not won in August. It's not lost in August. We beat Norwich away, first game last season. We all reacted really well. And then we went on to, a bit of a barren run, conceding a fair few goals at Borough, Coventry, Wrexham. So let's not get ahead of ourselves. You couldn't start any better. We've got to take the positives. You've got to praise it. But let's be a bit reserved. Let's understand what it is. It's game week 1 of 46. We've got to take each game as it comes. As Robbo rightly says, Saturday's a really, really tough game. Not going to be easy at all. They're coming off the back of a grieved loss. Should have been a draw. It was a handball to score the goal. They'll be angry. They had some success last season. Probably, battered us at the Den last season. It's going to be a tough game, but we've given ourselves the best opportunity to go into that game with some momentum, with some good feeling, with some good vibes, and the opportunity to start well, something that, has hindered us in the past. So it is only one game, but I'm very, very optimistic and very, very pleased on what we saw on Saturday. That's that then. Thank you to the chat, Robbo, Chris Brown, Al Debs, MFC Adam White, Dark Rue, Louise, Ian, Lionheart, all of you getting in the comments, really appreciate it. GC LDN as well. Riggs, Bobby out in Portugal. I hope I've not missed anyone. Max, Anthony, thanks for joining us. John Parr, Chris, Antonio, thanks for joining us as well. If I've missed anyone, I do apologise. But thank you very much for joining us for the cool down. We'll be back on Thursday night. So Thursday night, 7 p.m. Fuck that, we're winning every game. Thanks, Mickey. Yeah, 100%. We're winning every game. We're going up. Start the parade. Yeah, we'll be back Thursday night at 7 p.m. where we'll do the warm-up to the Norwich game, and hopefully we'll have a bit more news on Azeez. Maybe we've got some more transfer news as well as the transfer window comes to an end. And with that being said, thank you, Clive. Thank you, Robbo, for your comments. Thank you, everybody else. That's Charlie. I'm Jay. That's Darth Vader for half of the night. Thank you, Dan, in the background as well, moderating. And we'll see you on Thursday night, 7 p.m, YouTube, X, and Facebook. Don't be late.